That's why one of our products we're really into is our grow kits, where, depending on where you are in the world, there's different levels of legality, but in Canada, there's some flexibility. And so we really like that kind of product because you're empowering people to grow their own medicine and grow their own kind of health and wellness solutions at home. And frankly, like growing stuff, I think is just good for the soul anyway. If more people grow stuff, just that patient process of going through something is a good experience to have. And if you're growing tomatoes in your garden, it's a nice experience. Same with this kind of stuff. And then aside from that, you're growing you're empowering people to grow their own stuff at home. And the way we see that kind of product is, if you've ever grown mushrooms, they're a bit finicky and they're not very pretty. Normally it's a sawdust bag with the mycelium in there wrapped in plastic. And then as a customer, you get it and you slice the plastic and let some air in, mist it, and then mushrooms grow out of it. And if you want to get a bit more complicated, you'll build you can either have a misting tent or a shotgun box, but the shotgun boxes are even more, they take up a lot of room and they're definitely not that attractive to have in your house. So with the kits, we've been thinking about how do we make it easier for people?
And you're referring to one of the other brands right now.
Yes.
What is the name of that?
MyMyco.
MyMyco. Got it.
Yeah. So we want to make it an easier experience. So it's not you just having to tinker about and play with humidity and all of that stuff. But we also want to make it like attractive and nice to display. We're almost thinking of it like succulents. How do we get urban farmers or people interested in growing their own mushrooms and make them something that you'd want to display on the table rather than hide away in the corner of your house? And so we've been building these neat little ceramic shotgun boxes almost, that you essentially load cartridges into these mycelium cartridges, and then they grow out of these two slits at the side. And then we're having artists decorate the ceramic thing. So it looks nice, it's cool, it's a centerpiece, but it's also built for airflow and all of that type of stuff. That accessibility piece is super important to us. So having a decentralized, open access to these compounds and substances is super important to us.
So tell me a little bit more about the actual process with MyMyco. I buy one of these kits or these ceramic boxes. How much work do I need to do, and how long does that process take?
Yeah, I mean, it's how much work. So you'll get the ceramic shotgun box, yay big, and then you can order in the what we're calling the kind of cartridges. So you get a cartridge, let's say it's a lion's mane cartridge. You take that, you load it in, you'll slice the sides to open up the airflow. And then over the course of 30 days, you'll have a flush of lion's mane mushrooms. And typically they should flush like, 1 or 2 times at least. So it's pretty simple. And it looks cool. I don't know if you've seen lion's mane growing. It's pretty gnarly. And for me, lion's mane is probably the best mushroom to grow at home because it's a great substance from a kind of a mental health perspective. And that's one of the products, one of the mushrooms we have in Mojo. That's one of the things that's been shown to help with kind of clarity of thought and all of that stuff. But also it's delicious. If you've ever eaten lion's mane, people call it the lobster of mushrooms, and you never see it in grocery stores because it's so fragile. You only ever see very, very specific types of mushrooms in grocery stores because they're slightly easier to transport, but even then they get bruised, and so you only see portobellas and buttons and all of that stuff. You'll really never see lion's mane unless you're at a very specialty market, and so you'll never eat it. And so growing it at home gives you access to, the ability to have this kind of essentially a health supplement, but also to try lion's mane, which I think is one of the most delicious mushrooms. Like you slice it up, you fry it up in some butter and garlic. It's incredible. There's recipes for like lion's mane crab cakes. They're delicious.
That's really interesting. So with MyMyco, is it a similar strategy to Mojo where you're starting with legal mushrooms essentially, and then eventually whenever regulations allow, you just have this platform already built where you can easily transition into or add on some psychedelic mushrooms as well?
Yeah, it depends where you're talking in the world. Like in Canada, we can sell spores and kits for research purposes. So, people do sell them legally online. not in a particular, not packaged particularly well, and not like all the things that I was talking about before. So there are ways to produce grow kits for, research purposes on the psilocybin side that we can play with. The US varies state by state. Oregon's obviously going to be very different to, say, Texas, and we'll be putting these things out bit by bit. But even on the kind of functional side, I think it's just a cool thing to do. So we can layer in psychedelics as and when it allows in various different jurisdictions.
Interesting. What are the rules now in Oregon, for example, which is a leading area in the US for legalizing or at least decriminalizing a lot of these substances? Are you able to do anything there yet, or on the near horizon?
I don't think commercially, I'm sure people do, but for us, we probably wouldn't. It's like you said, it's decriminalized, that it's not. I'm sure there are shops selling various different items, but we wouldn't be putting them out just yet. In Oakland, very similar thing. We'll see how these things roll out, and then we'll put products, but we probably will start putting out the functional products a lot earlier with the ceramics and all of that stuff.
Got it. Yeah. So these first two brands that you've mentioned, Mojo and MyMyco, when do you expect those to be available in Canada and the US?
So Mojo will be available to buy May 1st in the US only to start with. A few months later, we'll have it up in Canada, and then we're going to expand it out to the UK. But yeah, US only first. The domain is mojogummy.gg. So it's live right now, but it's not for sale. You can sign up on the waiting list, and there's a kind of a referral thing going on, but it'll go live for sale May 1st.
That's awesome. And what about MyMyco?
MyMyco is going to be available in Canada first, and then later the US. So US probably back end of the year, but Canada, it'll be available in probably by this summer. We'll have the kits all ready to go and selling online. All of this stuff will be direct to consumer to start with. So everything we do will be direct to consumer. There may be some kind of localized retail partnerships that we work on, but you'll be able to buy everything online.